everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE and see how this particular phone holds up this tablet holds up in 2025. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you in my personal opinion is that the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE is still a very decent tablet. This thing still looks very good. It still has a bunch of capability inside of it. And if you are about to go through and use some sort of a device, I think this thing still makes a lot of sense to go and pick up. Now, there are some other types of tablets that I probably would recommend buying, maybe more so than this thing. So I'll kind of talk about those throughout this whole entire video. But if at any point you want to go ahead and buy a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE or some other tablets that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Galaxy Tab S9 FE. On the front side of this particular tablet, you're basically going to be able to go through and get a 10.9-inch IPS LCD panel. Now, this panel, I would say for the most part, still looks pretty decent. Like, it's not really like a terrible type of device. Like, I still think it looks pretty good. And if you are about to go through and pick up a tablet, this thing is like a pretty decent option, right? Now, it's a 90 hertz panel, which isn't necessarily the best of all time, but it's still good enough for the most part. Like, if you are about to go through and pick up a device, this thing really isn't too terrible. So you do have to kind of keep that in the back of your head that this type of tablet still does a decent job at a majority of things that you're going to throw at it, at least from the panel perspective. It still is also 1440p and it is a pretty big size too. So I think from that side, this type of panel still, gets a thumbs up for me from that particular side. Now you do get a USB Type-C port on this thing, which is expected. So that right there is a really nice thing to basically have inside of this type of device. But on top of that, a really cool thing here is that you do have a micro SD card slot inside of it. So you do have the capability of kind of going through and getting a micro SD card inside. And I do think that right there is it is a really big advantage here. And personally for me, I do like that. I like being able to go through and have that type of capability. And if you are, once again, about to go through and pick up a device and pick up a tablet, I personally do think that getting a tablet like this, I think it's a really nice option. And, just having that, expandable storage inside of a tablet, that is a really cool thing to basically have here as well. So, like I said before, personally for me, I think that is a really nice advantage here. Now, on the back side, this whole tablet is basically built out of aluminum. So it's basically an aluminum built tablet. I think that's a really nice thing here. And, if you're going to use this type of tablet, if you're going to pick it up, I do think that is kind of one of the bigger assets here. Because typically when you go ahead and pick up a more budget focused iPad, typically those things will have some sort of, typically they'll have like a cheaper type of build quality or they won't feel as premium. This one still feels very premium and it still feels very good. So I do think from that side too, you're still going to be able to feel like you're getting a very fast and very good feeling tablet from this thing too. So I will say from the exterior, it still gets a thumbs up from me. I think it does give you a pretty good experience all throughout. And that right there, it is a pretty big advantage. Like if you're going to go through and pick up your particular device, I think that is a really, really big thing to keep in mind here. From a price tag perspective, this thing, is basically hundreds of dollars cheaper than what it was before. Right now, you can buy it for about $330, in the used market. And on Amazon, they're about $330. So they're probably even cheaper in the used market. So that is kind of a really, really big thing to keep in mind here. And I do think from that particular perspective, I think that kind of adds a little bit more flavor or flair to this type of device. So in my personal opinion, that is kind of a really big thing to keep in mind there as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, when it comes down to the camera perspective, this type of tablet is basically going to be able to give you an 8 megapixel wide angle camera on the back and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So this is one of those types of cameras that you'll actually pick up, or one of those types of devices where the front camera is actually kind of better than the back camera. Yes, you can do 4K at 30 on the back, but that's still not even, I would love to be able to do 4K at 60. And this tablet came out back in 2023. So it's not like this is a very old tablet. This thing is a pretty average type of, tablet when it comes down to it from that side. So I will tell you, in my personal opinion, that is kind of one of those big things to keep in mind here. Now, within this type of tablet, I think a majority of things still look pretty good. I think if you're going to go through and pick up this type of tablet, it's going to look good. It's going to feel great. And, I think this in and of itself, that's one of those things to keep in mind here. So, in my personal opinion, I feel like with this type of tablet, you're getting a good camera, right? It's not anything super crazy. We've seen these types of cameras before. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, this is a very decent option. But keep in mind that if you are about to go through and pick up a tablet like this, it may not be the best of the best. It may not be the best camera anymore. It wasn't the best camera when it first came out either, but it's a good mid-tablet type of experience you're going to be getting. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, when it kind of comes down to software updates, this particular tablet is still kind of getting software updates. It started off with Android 13. It's probably going to end off around Android 16 or Android 17. So you still have quite a few software updates inside of this type of device. So, there's not too much to complain about there either. You're still going to be getting like a good type of experience. And I think that is kind of one of those things to keep in mind here as well. So you're not really going to feel like you're missing out on too much. You're still getting software updates here and there. So that right there, I do think that is kind of one of those big things to keep in mind there in my personal opinion as well. The battery size inside of these tablets is also very large. You're going to be getting an 8,000 mAh battery inside of this thing. And that right there is another really important thing to keep in mind there as well. So being able to go through and pick up a device like this that's going to be giving you that type of capability, I think is something that's really cool. And personally for me, I feel like that again is one of the bigger advantages here for these types of devices, right? Like being able to go through and pick up a device like this, I think is super nice because it's giving you a very big size, battery size inside of it as well. Now, on top of that, another very important thing to keep in mind is the performance. This type of tablet is still giving you the Exynos 1380 chipset inside with 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM. The model that I had 6, and for the most part, it was actually a pretty good type of tablet for the most part. It wasn't, again, anything super insane that we haven't already seen before. And with these Exynos chipsets, they're not really the best of the best. But for my performance and for my capability that I was using it with, I was actually having like a pretty good time with it for the most part. Like again, it wasn't perfect, but for a majority of things that I was throwing inside of that particular device, I had a good time with it. I thought it gave me a good experience. And again, maybe it wouldn't necessarily be the first type of device I'd recommend buying from a performance perspective. I think it's good. But this is where tablets like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 kind of make a little bit more sense for me to recommend. I look at a device like a Galaxy Tab S9, and I feel like that one is kind of giving you a better experience for the most part. Like that one gives you a good, capability, it gives you good performance, gives you good power. And I feel like that right there is another really big thing to keep in mind here as well. I feel like with something like the Tab S9 FE, this tablet is good for what you're getting, right? Like I feel like it is a good type of tablet, but there might be some better types of tablets that I would probably recommend buying. And I think with the Tab S9 FE, it's a good tablet overall, but I look at it as a used Galaxy Tab S9 as probably being a better option. I look at a used Galaxy Tab S8 as also being a better option in some ways. And I personally still own a Galaxy Tab S8, and I still think that's actually been still a pretty good tablet for me. And again, it's not a perfect tablet, but I still feel like it's good. It's a good option and a decent option for what I'm trying to get with it. With something like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE, I think it's good, but I think there might be some better options out there in the market. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.